Hey guys, welcome back to My Hero Academia, the strongest hero. In today's video, we're going to do the reroll guide. Now, there's going to be a fair bit in this one, so I will leave timestamps in the description. Also, check the pinned comment first thing when you're watching this video, because I will be doing this on the Taiwanese version, which I'm assuming should be fairly similar to the way Global will operate. If anything changes at Global, I'll leave a pinned comment, and if I need to, I will re-record the video with Global, and that will be in the pinned comment as well. So if there's nothing there, we should be pretty good to go with this one. So there's a few things we're going to look at. We're going to look at rerolling just by server, which I'm not a big fan of. So I'm going to show you guys how to reroll on the same server. We're going to do it for phones, being Android and iOS. And then we're going to go into rerolling on your PC using an emulator, which is going to be a faster method once you get it set up, because you don't have to download the additional resources every time you get into the game. Whereas with your phone, you will have to do that. And if you want to know what heroes to reroll for, basic summary is Momo or Tokuyami are pretty safe bets. I did a whole video talking about it if you want to go more in depth, so that will be in the description as well. Just a quick TLDR of the reroll process. It's basically, you're going to follow the tutorial until you get to level 7 when you unlock the tutorial summon, which will give you Kaminari. Then you're going to go into another quest, and once you start the quest after getting your Kaminari copy, you can actually steer your character, which will break you from the auto pathing, and then you can go to your mail, collect all the summon stuff, pop all your summons. If you get what you want, you keep the account. If you don't, you reroll. That's the basics for those that are pretty across rerolling. Now we'll go more in depth into each platform. Now, just quickly, I wanted to throw in about the multiple servers. It is a multiple server game. You can reroll by just exiting out of the game, going back in, and then selecting a new server if you didn't like your reroll. However, for me, I don't like doing that. This game has like an auto PvP, which gives you a bunch of premium currency. And if you just start rerolling on server 1, 2, 3 when server 30 is available, those players will be far more progressed than you, and it's going to be hard for you to compete in that auto PvP, not the live PvP, to get that premium currency. So for me, if I was rerolling, I'd always want to be rerolling on the most recent server created, and that's why these methods that I mentioned are going to be targeted towards doing that, because I just think it's the best way personally that I would want to do it. If you want to just reroll on different servers, you just exit, go select a new server, and away you go. Okay, so for Android phone users, first off, what you're going to do is you're basically going to install the game, go through it, play the tutorial, do your whole reroll, and then if you don't get what you want, you're going to go to settings, you're going to go to apps, you're going to go to storage, and then you're going to go clear data. So clear data is going to clear all the save files and stuff like that. Then you're going to open the app again. Unfortunately though, you will have to re-download all the additional resources, which is where the time is going to get consumed in that method. For iOS users, you've basically, once you do the run through, you don't get what you want, you're going to have to uninstall, reinstall. That's the only way I know for iOS. I'm not a big iOS user, so if there is another way, I apologize. Now, I have seen in Discord, some people mention that clearing data doesn't work for them. For me personally, on the Taiwanese version, clearing the data of a guest account gives me a fresh guest account when I jump back into the game. Now, make sure you are not binding it to your Facebook or whatever, because if you do, that account's saved to the Facebook. So you've got to be doing it with guest. Now, if for some reason it isn't working for you, you've logged in as a guest, clear the data, you log back in, it's that same guest account with the same save file, then what you're going to have to do is basically bind that guest account to a dummy Google email or something like that, so that then you can start again fresh. And for me, the other way is obviously using Emulator. So with those quick summaries out of the way for the other two, this is the one we're going to go more in depth on, and that is going to be using your PC and an emulator to actually install the game, download the resources, make clones so that you don't have to download the resources again. So if you have an emulator already, you got BLUESTACKS, Nox, LD Player, there's a bunch of them. You can use whichever one as long as it has a multi-instance manager and it can clone instances. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to go through it now. So basically, there'll be a link in the description. It is an affiliate link. It helps out the channel. It doesn't cost you guys anything. If you don't want to help me out, you can simply Google BLUESTACKS, Google Nox, Google LD Player. I'm going to use BLUESTACKS because that's what I use. And you can just install it. Now, from my link, it's going to take you here. I'm going to go play on BLUESTACKS 4. I've heard some people have issues with BLUESTACKS 5. And when things are in beta, I basically just leave these sorts of apps when they're in beta until they're fully launched. So I'm going to go with BLUESTACKS 4. You click on it, you can see behind my head, you can kind of see maybe a little bit of arrow, you probably can't see it, but you will get a download. Basically, you just go down there, run the exe and install the software. And that's pretty much all you need to do for that. Then you'll get a link like this on your home screen. You've got the BlueStacks or you've got the multi-instance manager. Now you want to get to this multi-instance manager. If you don't have that shortcut, you can search it in your search bar, or you can open up whatever BlueStacks instance it makes for you. And then you can click this button on the top, and then you can click on this one here, and that is going to open up the multi-instance manager for you. And this is where you want to get to. So with this, yours will probably be very plain and probably only have one instance here. I reroll on a lot of games, so I've got a lot of different instances created. So just for the sake of it, I'm going to say create a new instance. You go fresh instance. I like running it on 64-bit. Some people's PCs don't handle it. I know the game does run on 64-bit, so that's what I'm going to do. So you'd create a new instance. You go next. You select your cores. Obviously, it's dependent on your computer's performance what you do here. It's not really going to impact you too much unless you want to actually play the game on here. So we're going to go create here. And then it's going to create that instance, which is this one here that it just created. It always gives it a weird name. You can rename them by clicking here. But I'm going to jump into that instance just to show you guys the basics of what it is. It opened on my other screen, so we'll put it here. We'll shrink it down a little bit. And basically, it's just going to load up. It does take a little bit to load the first time you make a new instance, but then it's going to open up and it's going to have your basic options. It's going to have like settings, web browser, all that kind of stuff. And then it is also going to have the Play Store. So what you're going to want to do is, after global launch, obviously, if it's in your region, you're going to go to the Play Store and you're just going to install it. So you will have to sign into the Play Store. I'm not going to do it because I'm just doing this for an example, but you literally just jump into the Play Store, search the game, click download like it was your phone, and it'll be installed in the game. Then you're going to jump into the game and run it. And now I'm going to jump to another instance because I've already got it prepared so that I can show you guys where you want to stop, because there is a point where you want to stop so that you can clone the instance and actually do your fast rerolls. So back in a sec. Okay, so there's going to be a point in the game. So when you jump into it, it's basically going to download a bunch of additional resources, and then it's going to take you to something like this, and then you will get this screen. Once you get to this screen, stop. Do not do anything. This will be a bit different at global because it'll be a different publisher and stuff like that, but I'm assuming there will be a login process here. And like I said at the start, if this is where something changes at global, I will redo the video if I have to, but it should give you a little screen, something like this. Once you get to here, do not do anything. You close the actual BlueStacks instance. So let's give you this one so you can see the full screen. So you're just going to close that BlueStacks instance and close it. Close it off. Now that one, that's going to be this one here that you can see. I've got this one called MHA Reroll Base. So that instance that you were just playing, which would have been your 64-bit if you copied me, you're going to rename that MHA Reroll Base or whatever you want to call it that you won't forget. And that instance you never want to open again. It stays there. It's your baseline for the reroll. It has all the resources downloaded, but it hasn't given you an account ID. And then we're going to go here. I'm going to go new instance. We're going to go clone instance. Then we're going to scroll down here. Yours will be a lot easier because you won't have so many. But we're going to go here and I'll find my MHA reroll base. And I'm going to create a clone. Now I've already created one clone, which is the MHA reroll 1. So I'm going to call this one MHA reroll 2. 2. So you guys don't have to rename them. I just do it because I've got so many instances, it gets a bit cluttered. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into that MHA reroll 2 and I'm going to click start. It's going to open it up. It's going to be identical to that other instance, but now we're going to take this one further and make the game give us an ID, and we're going to do our reroll. And then we're always going to have that MHA reroll base, which doesn't have any of that, it doesn't have a saved file, so we can keep cloning it and redoing the same thing. So we're going to jump into the game. Like I said, this will be the global version of the game for you guys by the time you get around to re-rolling. And then I'm just going to show you a couple quick things to do. Then we're going to cut out the chunk of the middle of it, which is like just the on Rails tutorial part. But there is one thing you can do at the start here to skip. And I'm also going to talk about your name in the game as well. So it's going to do this little load. And as you can see, we're not going to have to actually download additional resources. It's going to take us to this screen again. Then we're going to hit this one here, which is guest on global. There'll be something that says guest account or something like that. You click that, and in the middle, you can see it gave us a user ID. So now we actually have a user ID for this instance of BlueStacks. You can select your server. Like I said, for global, I'm going to reroll on server 1. If you're coming late, I'd just go on the most recent server, which literally you can, like if you go to all, I think it's this one. Oh no, you just go from the top down. It just gives you the most recent server. So that's the way you're going to do it. We're going to just jump in and enter the game now. And now there's one thing that you really want to be careful of here, because otherwise, if you do this wrong, you're going to get a massive tutorial that you don't need to do. So this screen here, it's basically saying, do you want to skip the base tutorial? And basically this one, the bottom one is skip it, and then hit confirm. Global, you should be able to read it and see what the skip is, because it'll probably save you 3 to 5 minutes on your reroll. So that's what you want to do. And then with this one, I'm just going to change the instance so it's a little bit cleaner. So there we go. So as you can see, it's just going like this. I just changed my camera angle in OBS is what I did. So it's going to give you this bit of talk. Then we're going to jump straight into this. So you do miss out on a big chunk of tutorial by doing it this way, which is fantastic. We're going to get in here, yada, yada, yada. And now we're going to get into name creation. Now, this is another thing, check the pinned comment for, because on the Taiwanese version, on the same server, you can't have 2 characters with the same name. However, if you have a character with one name and you later change their name, that name will then be available to another account. So there's 2 ways you can go about naming your character here. You can name it your name and then just make sure you save that instance because so that you know it's got the name you want. Or you can just do a dummy name, you do the dice roll or whatever, and just give yourself a random name, and then you can change it to what you want later. Me personally, I'm gonna, on my first instance, name it Vulcan. Hopefully I get it, because in games, there's always someone that takes my name. So hopefully I can get it. If not, it's no big stress, I'll name it something else. But then you can rename it later. And like I said, if that first instance isn't the one I want, I'm just gonna hold on to it though, in my multi-instance manager. And then once I get the account that I'm actually gonna stick with, I'll go back into the one named Vulcan, change the name to blah, 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 and then Vulcan name will be available, and then my actual account I can change to Vulcan. But for a lot of you guys, if you don't think there's competition for your name, just go with the randomized name, create the name, and then once you get the account you want, you can change your name later on, and I'll show you after this how to change your name in the game as well. But that's pretty much it. Once you select your name, it's going to go through a tutorial of about, I'm going to say it takes about 5 to 7 minutes, where you're going to go through 3 combat instances. And then once we get out of that and get to the tutorial summon, that's when I'll come back to you guys. Okay, so here we are. We've gone through, you do about 3 battle instances. You really can't mess up to this point. All Might's going to give you the recruitment tutorial. You're going to get this 1 tutorial summon, and it's going to be Kaminari. You can't change this. It's just, it is what it is. He's the tutorial character that we all get. So you're going to summon him. You're going to get out. He's going to go into like a little, I think, achievements tutorial as well, which will be up the top here. So we go here, do this one, get a bit more. Next up, what do we got? What do we got, All Might? Yeah, this one here. So we're going to go up here, do this one. We're going to click that. Then we're going to jump out, and then it's going to take us on a quest. Now, this is where you can move and you get off the rails of the game. And this is the point at which you're going to go, I don't know, the UI is a bit different on global, but you're going to find your mail. You're going to collect everything in the mail. On global, it should include the additional tickets from the pre-registration. Then you're going to go out, you're going to hit here, you're going to go to recruit, you're going to go to the summons, you're going to do it on this banner because we'll have blue tickets, and that's what this banner is for. Don't know what banner is going to be here for the limited banner over here, but basically general rule of thumb moving forward in the game is save your premium currency. But if you're re-rolling and you're like, I'm going to delete this account, you may as well just use your diamonds on the summons anyway. I mean, not your diamonds, your premium currency. So use the diamonds in games. You may as well use your premium currency on a couple. If you're going to delete the account anyway, if you go ahead and pop 2 singles and get 2 S heroes, I mean, it's not too bad on the account you were going to delete anyway. So that's what I'd be doing. But just dump all the summons you have. If there's a good banner here, if there's like an Aizawa, an All Might, an Endeavor, or something like that banner of a hero that's not in this list here, then it's probably worth rolling with your diamonds on this one, but I don't think they will. I'm assuming they'll have something like Bakugo as the first one. So basically everything on here. If you get the reroll you want, you obviously keep the count, keep going. If not, and I'll show you how to change the name in a sec, but if it's not the account you want, you're simply going to close that instance. I'm just going to minimize it for the sake of this because I'm going to reopen this one to show you the name change, but you can just effectively close the instance. And then basically if you want to go again, you literally just go new instance, you go clone instance, you find that the MHA reroll base, this one, and then you go create, open that one up, away you go, same process, rinse and repeat until you get the account that you want. That's pretty much the process on BLUESTACKS. Like I said, it's much quicker once you've got it set up because then you don't have to actually install the resources every time, which does take a fair bit of time. But now we'll go check out how to change your name and also how to bind the account once you've got it the way you want it. you're going to click in the top left. It's going to take you to your account. You're going to click this one, and then you're going to set your name. Now, I think I've already done a Vulcan on this server. Let's see if I have. I don't know. Have I done it? I hadn't done one on server 60 on Taiwanese. So it's going to allow me to select that name. And then you can change it again, but after the first change. So if I wanted to change it again, and we do that, it's going to take you to the store, and you're going to have to buy one of these rename tickets for 200 premium currency, which isn't too expensive, but if you want to do that. But now we'll get into how to bind the account once you've got the account you want. And a big shout out to Leviathan on Discord for this. I could not figure out how to bind. I went asking around. He managed to let me know. So it's confusing here. I'm hoping on global there might be just some bind button in settings, just because different publishers do things in different ways. So hopefully it's a bit easier. But if you go into the settings and you see a bind thing, once again, check the pinned comment. If there's an easier way, I'll let you guys know. But on this version, the way you're going to go ahead and bind your account is you're going to hit this button. This takes you back to the home screen, or you can just close and reopen the app. And this is going to take me back to the home screen. From there, this is the confusing part. You're going to hit the Tokoyami head, which is like the login. And then we're going to hit this guest login as well. Once again, I think this will be a lot easier at global. This is just the way this one's done. You hit this guest login, and then it'll basically have a security thing saying this user ID, which is your guest login, isn't bound. Do you want to bind it? Then you click this one here, and then you can go ahead and bind it however you want. Use Google, Facebook, whatever, and then your account will be bind. But like I said, hopefully come global, it will be a bit easier. But that is finally going to be it for this reroll guide. Like I said, there's a lot to this one. It does get a little bit confusing, but thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I'll look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.